Welcome to a new video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the new Alpine Era, the new era mythics, and the mythics are going to be coming with them, even the ancestor monster, Tier Stormbringer. As you know, Abyssal Era is ending, and it's going to be ending in a day. Now we're going to be introducing the new Alpine Era, which I'll get to all the specifics later. But for right now, we're going to talk about the new Panos Conjuring mythics and the new Legends Pass mythic. We're going to start off with the new ancestor, which is going to be very meta. As you see, the name is Terra Stormbringer, and you can read all the lore here. Just take a screenshot or something. Just pause the video. So, anyways, Tyr Stormbringer is a thunder and metal attacker with Torture Explosion. I don't know what Torture Explosion is, but and insane damage skills. Bulwark at rank 0, really good. Immune to freeze, immune to stun, and immune to shock, it's mid. Everything except for Bulwark is mid. Anyways, the model's really cool, and he looks pretty cool. His awakening virtues though, and his awakening is really good. I'll get to that later. But yes, 4,000 strength, 2,000, 40,000 strength, 20,000 speed, and like a ton of health, more than Griffania. He's gonna be competing with Griffania as like the best monster in the game. Anyways, though, Tier Stormbringer, let's look at the moves. Massive thunder damage to one enemy applies electrified. Don't really care about the electrified too much, but the massive thunder damage I do like. Shot and mead applies double damage and immunity control to itself. Unless it's good unless you have the awakening virtue on, if because it's basically the same thing. Agent Metal, heavy metal damage to its AoE, and applies Nanovirus AoE. Nanovirus is one of the best stats casters in the game, so it's a really good move. And Agent Punishment, one of the better moves, removes tortures from one enemy and deals 30 damage per effect removed. That is crazy because the Awakening, as I'll get to later, you need your entire team to get 10 tortures. So if you have your Awakening and you have Anticipation on Control Immunity, and they put on 10 tortures on an enemy, and you do 30 damage, that's 300. That's 300 damage to a monster. And what I think they mean by 30 damage, I think they mean like in the stat, like how moves can have like 40 damage and stuff. I think that's what I mean, but that can do a lot of damage. Anyways, let's go on to his moves, more detailed moves. His relics are gonna be weird. Relics aren't that good. Sword and Banner, but his virtues, Anticipation, Immune Control, really good. Awakening Condition, your team applies 10 torture effects, really good. And his tier 4 moves are really good because you can apply Pierce to yourself, do insane metal damage, and apply Nanovirus to one enemy. And and his ultimate is really good too. It removes positive stat effects from all enemies, disables trait on all enemies, deals moderate thunder damage to all enemies, and applies Megastone to all enemies. It's absolutely great, and it's one of the best ultimates, other than another monster, which I'll get to later. That's in the same era, but it's really good. But a lot of the ultimates from the Alpine era, as you can see from the other ultimates I'll be getting to, are really redundant because they follow like a same pattern. Anyways, that's really it for Tier Stormbringer. In my opinion, and I'm reviewing all the new monsters that are confirmed to be coming in the Alpine era. I feel like he's gonna be the best one, obviously because of his stats. And with the new Alpine era, it's gonna be the strongest lineage of monsters, which means it's gonna be just lengthening that gap between like Blossom era and other Mythic era monsters. All right, the next monster we'll be getting to in Panel's Conjuring is Fatal Herald. You can read all of his lore here. Pretty cool, you know. But this monster is going to be very meta if you get him. At tier 150, tier 5, 150 level, he is one of the best monsters of the game. First, let's look at the new emblem, though. The new emblem with the Alpine Era emblem looks really cool. It's support, it's nature and earth, and its traits are really good because it gets control immunity at rank 0, which I really like, harden, which I really like, damage protection, really like, Statscaster Anticipation, and Statscaster replies a random negative stats effect to all enemies at the start of the battle, which is really good. Let's look at those skills though. Snow Hibernation is one of the best moves because it gives Anticipation to itself, Evasion to itself, and Life Regeneration, which just turns it into like a real beast. monster that can just like deny everything. And this monster is actually a counter to another monster from Legends Pass, which I'll be going over later in the video. Mask of Ban deals heavy earth damage to one enemy, removes positive stat effects from one enemy, applies negative random stat effect, applies a random torture stat effect, and it's just really good move in general. Probably one of the best attacking moves I've seen. Curse Look deals low earth damage to all enemies, applies negative effect protection to all enemies, applies random torture stat effect to all enemies. It's a really good AoE, attack because it makes sure that you have those negative stat effects so that they can just have it on them, like no one can take it away. And Advantage of the Snow is really good too because it does low nature damage, removes torture immunities, applies a random negative stat effect, and applies Frosted, which is the new Sasscaster. I don't know what Frosted is, but if it's better than Freeze, I'll definitely take it. Now to look though, Relics, it's okay, Mass and Staff. And its trait is really good though, and so are its stats. Uh, so these these are really good. Like these attacks are really good. The ultimate though, I think is better than the Ancestor's ultimate because it removes all positive stat effects, disables trait, deals massive nature damage, and does Mega Stun, which is just a little bit better than the Ancestor. He's definitely gonna be meta. He's gonna be like one of the best monsters in Monster Legends, but it'll be really hard to get him because now for free to play players, Social Point is ruining it because you had to pay or you had to just get lucky, like really lucky. To get these new monsters is gonna be really hard because you can only get them from Panel's Conjuring or by buying them. And that's really all to say about Fail Herald. Let's get on to the next monster. Alright, next monster is Draco Ed. I'm not going to go too much into him because he's just a Megaton monster. He's metal and light. Not a big deal, we've seen this before. And I'm not even going to go over him because he's just really bad. He's still going to get good stats though, but really all he does is he does a little bit of damage, applies Frosted, gives himself no healing except for 30% life shield and Megaton for one skill. And he has AoE Megaton already, and his relics aren't good either, and his ultimate is just a worse one from all the other ones. Disables trait and doesn't even do any damage. It applies random stat specs. This monster is definitely one of the worst out of the ones that have been confirmed. He could be really good if you get him though. He could be good, but not as good as the other ones I'm going to be going to. Even the next one here. Honestly, I'd give this guy like a D because there's nothing really unique about him. Anyways, let's go on to the next monster. And now we're on to the next monster, Sorceress, which is one of my favorite ones out of the Panel's Conjuring. But I don't like Panel's Conjuring because you have to really, really like grind the game. Anyways, rank 0, it's a water and magic controller with area dodge and freeze, frosted, which is the new Statscaster, and cooldown activation skills. It's probably gonna be one of the best controllers out of like the last 3 eras, honestly. The trait, rank 0 area dodge, rank 1 immune to possession, and rank 3 Statscaster applies frost to everyone. It's only going to be the 3 trait monster, but it's still pretty good. Speed is great, life is good, strength is good, but you're not really going to be hitting anyone with her. Frozen, she has a lot of extra turners, like she applies freeze to one enemy with 1 extra turn in Frozen Breath, applies frost to one enemy, gives 1 extra turn when Frigid Breeze. Eternity Curse removes evasion, really good, like one of the best moves in the game because it removes evasion, activates all cooldowns, and gives 1 extra turn, which means you're going to hit them with the remove evasion, then freeze, then frosted, and then you can hit them with the Bane of Ice, which does low water damage to everyone, freeze, frosted, and curse. These are a lot of stats effects you're going to be getting in just 1 turn with her. I feel like she's going to be one of the better monsters. Only concern those relics. She has 2 staffs for some reason, and only damage you're gonna be doing is like really small damage, like moderate water damage. I feel like the only moves you really want to run are these, the ones here. It's still gonna be pretty good monster though. The ultimate is pretty good too. Removes positive stat specs, disables trait, but it's still pretty redundant because all it does, like basically all these ultimates either remove positive stat specs, disables trait, and applies uh like a control effect. Doesn't even do damage either, which is on one of the lower side of the ultimates, and you're not gonna be getting ultimates too much either way. But honestly, I give this monster an A. It looks really good, but we have to see how most of these monsters work. I can't wait to see Alpine Era in a day or two. Anyways, let's go on to the last monster, which is the Legend Pass monster. For our last monster, we have the Legends Pass monster, Arachna Flame. You can read all the lore here, but for a Legend monster, a Legends Pass monster, a free Legends Pass monster, you can get a fire and earth attacker with burn, hellfire, and extra turn skills. The evolving trait is pretty mid, but at least you have immune to fear, which is good. Strength is really good for this monster, but it also gets countered by Fatal Herald, which I explained late, which I will explain now, as I talked about in earlier in this video. Good health, but like Fatal Herald just completely outspeeds him and lives him. The traits are better on Fatal Herald too, and he also has anticipation, which with Arachno Flame, he's not gonna be doing too much damage, and he's only gonna be using extra turners, which is just anticipation bait. Like these attacks here, only low fire damage, Hellfire and Ignite, um, AoE extra turn, which I feel like is really good because it does damage, and applying Fear, which is really good, Fear and Burn, but I wish it was an AoE Fear. That would definitely make this monster better. This monster has a sword and a mask, which is like all the other ones. And these attacks, the highest damage you're gonna be doing is with your ultimate 30. So I don't think it's gonna be too good of an attacker. Ultimate, same thing. It just actually it's not the same thing. This one it's pretty unique because it gives fear, moderate fire damage, fire weakness, and earth weakness, which will be really good. You can open up like a lot of attacking and strength opportunities. This monster I feel like is just gonna be a mid monster, but it's gonna be really good for the first Alpine Era monster. Anyways, that's it for all the monsters. Let's get on to the last part about the Alpine Era. Alright, so this is the last part of the video, which is the Alpine Era. Welcome to New Heights. As you can see, here's a lore. It's about people going up to Alps, yada yada yada. It's going to be the strongest mythic lineage and era, which is going to be just lengthening that gap. And this new Renko material, Northberry, is going to be really hard to find, but it's going to be the Renko material, and it's going to be pretty cool. You can use it on everyone. And now, Abyssal Era, there's a really big downside. Only Coralia would be valid to rank up Abyssal Era monsters. And that's just going to cement Abyssal as one of the worst eras in the game because if you can only use Coralia to rank up Abyssal monsters, and the Abyssal monsters are only good at like the highest rank, and the only really good Abyssal monsters are Sky Cold and the Ancestrals, like there's just no room for originality, no room for any really good Abyssal monsters. The runes are also going to be a really big change because it's going to be even. It's going to be widening the gap even more with level 11 to 15 runes and everything, which is going to be just crazy. And that's really all we know so far about the Alpine Era. If there's any other updates, I'll be posting on the YouTube channel. Anyways, that's really it. Hope to see you guys when this era drops, and I'll see you guys next time.